Hey, Buffs fans, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, the football season finally upon us. Buffs hosting TCU on Friday night. We're going to talk with my broadcast partner and former coach Gary Barnett. We'll also hook up with associate head coach Phil McGeoghan. He's the wide receivers coach for the Buffaloes. Jesse Mahoney and the volleyball team coming off a 3-0 weekend of the Buffs Invitational. We'll talk with him, and we're going to take a deep look into head coach Karl Dorrell's life. All this week on the Buffalo Stampede. And now they open the gate, and here comes Ralphie 6, and she's on her way south across the 15, the 20, the 25. She's coming to the near sideline. Oh, her first run is going to be successful. Oh, touchdown, Ralphie. Touchdown, Colorado. How about that, man? Well, a year ago, we were debuting Ralphie 6. She's got a year under her belt. She's a sophomore now, by the way. Now we're debuting the 2022 Colorado football team on Friday night as they take on TCU in the season opener. Hi, everybody. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Coach Gary Barnett joins us, of course.
Wait a minute, Mark. We're going to do this year the right way.
Okay. What's he got going now? No ball cap?
I got a little hat for you.
You're coming back with the...
I thought maybe we ought to look more alike than different.
I'm just going to do this as this is my partner. Gary Barnett. All right, football's finally here. You feeling good about things? You've been watching camp for last month.
Yeah, I have. I've been able to come out to most of the practices. They've had really good energy for the most part. I've seen the offense take an initial first step and become pretty effective, and defense struggle, and now I see the defense starting to come around and the offense struggling against the defense that's getting ready to play. So it's been interesting to watch. It really has.
You know, it's kind of interesting to watch. Speaking of the quarterback position, Karl Dorrell, he's keeping it under wraps. Sonny Dykes down at TCU, he's keeping it under wraps. We're not sure who's starting a quarterback for either team.
Well, I think I've watched this battle really closely. And first of all, let's start off and say that Owen McCowan is young freshman. Is going to be a really good player.
Yes, he is.
Probably not this year, but he's going to be a really good player. Secondly, I think both these two quarterbacks, Brendan Lewis and JT Shroud, have made each other better. It's been a heck of a battle the whole time. And one day you think that one's ahead, and the next day the other guy's ahead. And I think, and this is a pure guess, I know nothing, but I'd say it's hard not to start Brendan Lewis at this point in time, start this game. Being the incumbent. I mean, it's really hard not to, but who knows? You and I don't really know. We just talk about whatever somebody does, and whatever we say beforehand doesn't really mean much.
Well, there's a lot new on the offensive side. It may be an old quarterback, maybe a new one, but there's a lot new with the new offensive coordinator. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, it was just a couple of weeks ago. We got the season underway with the official kickoff luncheon at the indoor practice facility.
So I feel very, very excited about this team. And some of it is relying on faith about what they can become. And those are things that we talk about quite often, about maximizing their potential. When you have an off season that is an outstanding off season, it really correlates to an outstanding fall. And that's at any level. This team has put in the work, and that started in early January, but this team had the resolve and the attitude about knowing that the changes that we've made were very important for us to move forward to a championship level. So they embraced it, they've embraced these coaches, but we've really started to gain some ground on our identity.
Well, there's head coach Karl Dorrell and his comments at the kickoff lunch in a couple of weeks. So we're getting ready for the season opener on Friday night against TCU as we continue with Gary Barnett. I mentioned before we heard from Karl there. Mike Sanford, talk about what you see offensively now that he's come in as the OC.
Well, I tell you, I like all these coaches for the most part. I've been impressed with all of them. Offensively, they have a different energy than the group before them, and I like those guys. But this is a different energy and a different way of doing things, and I think the players have really attached themselves to it. I like the energy of Mike Sanford every day, and Phil McGeoghan, as well as the offensive line coach, Karl the van. And, everybody's been impressive to me. And they all look like they're on the same page.
You look at this team, I think that Karl Dorrell's building depth, I should say. Now, up front, there's depth in defensive line. Linebacker, I know you're missing some big names from a year ago. Nate Lamb, most notable, not out there, but it's a deep group there. There's some youth in the back end of this defense, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there's youth all over the place, really, but the back end is really youthful, and they're the ones that I think I've seen the most progress in the last week. A week ago, they got toasted a couple times. This week, it's been different. So young guys do that. They grow up. And then you get into a game, it's a whole different animal. So we'll see how they react in there. But a lot of youth there. You mentioned linebackers. This is a good-looking group of linebackers. Yes. Physically, it's probably one of the better groups I've seen CU have. And there's a lot of experience up front. We just got to make plays. Defense has got to make plays when they get in the games now.
Quick comment about Sonny Dykes and TCU on Friday night.
Really good football coach. Comes from a great football family. I've known his dad for a long time, and Sonny. He won 4 straight years at SMU. Hasn't been done since the 1980s. That would have been a long time. But no, to go put together 4 winning seasons at SMU after what they've been through, that says a lot about a football coach.
I didn't know, speaking of the 1800s, I didn't know he had any cowboy in him. But that's Gary Barnett. He'll be with us in the broadcast starting at 6 o'clock on Friday night. The Buffaloes and the Horned Frogs will kick it off at 8 o'clock at Folsom Field. Coming up next, we'll talk with Associate Head Coach and Wide Receiver Coach Phil McGeoghan as we continue here in the Stampede.
Dropping, Lewis rears back, going down for the home run down the right side. There's hand catching and a bobble and a grab down the right side. Yes, it's a reception. Daniel Arias down the right side, inside UCLA territory.
Well, there we see Daniel Arias and that group of wide receivers for the Colorado Buffaloes last season. Can't wait to see them on the field come Friday night when they take on TCU and the season opener at Folsom Field under the lights. Phil McGeoghan, Associate Head Coach, and the wide receivers coach joining us here for a couple minutes. Well, you're just like chomping at the bit right now, aren't you? Get through camp and it's game week.
It's game week. We're excited. We feel good about the game plan. I feel good about the players that are repping right now and getting reps with the 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
And, I love our depth. I love our energy and our attitude in that room. We're eager to play, and I think we're going to surprise some people.
Camp is always an interesting thing for me. There's a lot of energy when you first come out, and then you get to the dog days. You got to kind of drag the guys through. You like the way this team has kind of handled itself?
Yeah, I love the internal competition because it's very close in that room. So we got 8 or 9 guys that are kind of competing for reps at this point in time. So I think that consistent competition throughout training camp has kind of kept everybody playing at a fairly high level the whole time, because there's really been no separation between the 1s and the 2s. It's just everyone's fighting to see how many reps they're going to earn on Friday. So I think we've kept that same competitive mindset, and we'll look at it that same way throughout the course of this week. And the best players are going to be playing on Folsom on Friday. That gives the best chance to win football.
Well, you kind of touched on what I was just going to ask you. You get here with a fresh set of eyes. You don't know these guys. You know the fact that Daniel Arias has played a lot of football, and Jalen Jackson, and maybe Jordan Tyson has not. Tell me about kind of how you approached this group when you took over with the wide receivers.
So every time I have the opportunity to coach wide receivers, I promise them that I'm going to play the best players.
Okay.
Like my son's not here. I don't have a nephew on the staff, and there's like I don't know any, but it's completely objective. So it's always going to be a meritocracy. Can you go out there and execute your assignment? Can you play with physicality? Can you catch the ball and contest situations? And are you going to block the right human beings through the echo of the whistle for 60 minutes of football?
Nice.
And the guys that do that play. And the guys that don't, they go run scouts. That's just the facts of how it needs to be. And those guys have met the challenge. And even the guys that are running scouts, they probably could be out there playing on Friday nights too, because that's the competition that we've had in that room. That's what excites me.
I love it, and that's exactly the reason why I get no snaps on Friday nights when the Horned Frogs are in town. By the way, a couple of weeks ago, we had the kickoff lunch, and let's hear from the offensive coordinator, Mike Sanford.
I can't tell you how excited I am for this season to get started. The work that these players have been putting in over the course of the last really 7-8 months since I had the opportunity to meet this football team has been second to none. There truly is a special feeling right now on this football team. And when you're going into week 1 of the season, sometimes you just know that something's right, and you just know that something's special. And that's because of the leadership of our head football coach, Karl Dorrell. And that's because, most importantly, is all those guys that are right there in the back rows. Okay, these are very, very special young men. They're genuine, they're real, They love each other. They love having a great time with each other. They represent themselves well in this community and in the classroom. And they are an absolute joy for each one of us as position coaches to coach.
There's comments from offensive coordinator Mike Sanford at the kickoff luncheon a couple of weeks ago as we get ready for game number 1 Friday night with TCU. We continue with Phil McGeoghan. There's Mike right there. He came in same time you did. A lot of newness on this offensive staff. How's that group kind of melded as it's been here now a few months?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I think Coach Sanford's done a great job of bringing clarity what we're doing schematically, listening to all of the suggestions. So you got Clay Patterson got ideas, and Kyle Devan and Darian Hagan and myself. We all have a bunch of ideas,
sure.
right? So but Mike has to take all of our ideas, decipher which ones are going to be effective based on the personnel that we're carrying on our roster, make a decision while listening to us, and then implementing that into a strategic way so we can be successful. And I thought Mike's done as good a job as anybody I've ever worked with at the coordinator position at doing that and having clear direction about what we're doing offensively.
You know where this offense was a year ago. Tell me as you stand here today now after camp and getting ready for the game on Friday night, why you like what you're seeing from this group heading into Friday's game.
The first thing I see is belief, a tremendous amount of belief from our players with the scheme. They believe in what they're doing is going to be successful. So that's the most important thing. Do they believe in your scheme, and do they believe in the culture and the character that we're trying to, with finishing blocks, the right type of ball security, how we are going to run our routes, and the play speed that's required for that, the physicality and the courage that it takes to catch a ball across the middle. They've understood, they've bought in, they're eager to execute those types of assignments, and Mike's done a really good job of clarifying and bringing really clear vision to what our assignments are and how we're going to get those executed.
TCU comes in with a new coaching staff, Sonny Dykes. Tell us about the defense we're going to see on Friday.
Well, they're a good defense,
Yep.
and they're difficult. They're a 3-3-5 stack team, and they do a lot of interesting things at the linebacker level. They're one of the most sophisticated defenses that you're going to see. It's going to be a challenge. They have very good players. They play hard. They have interior 6 players that are really tough. They have 5 guys across the perimeter that can cover and tackle. So it's a great test. It's going to be a really good college football game. I think people are going to be excited.
I know you've seen it. You're going to be goosebumps when you run up behind Ralphie?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to stay far away from Ralphie because I respect nature and I respect large mammals that they're running around the earth unbridled with 6 humans just holding them. So I'll be back, but I'll be
enjoying the view.
I cannot wait. I mean,
gonna be awesome.
To be on the field and being a part of a football game, at CU.
Yeah.
This will be a special time for myself and my family.
Love it. Enjoy. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. That's the associate head coach, wide receivers coach, Phil McGeoghan. Coming up next to Buffalo Stampede, we're going to look at the path that Karl Dorrell took to become the head coach of the Buffaloes.
I want to talk to you about the young men that we have in our organization and what they've been able to do so far in this upcoming season. The minute we got done with our season in December, these guys got right to work. There was no hesitation. There was no doubt in their mind that we are very, very close to being a dominant football team in the Pac-12. And what they did was just amazing. They made an effort to not only compete on the field, but in the classroom. Like Mr. George said, they did a great job of competing off the field, in the classroom, and now what they're doing this fall is phenomenal.
There's defensive coordinator Chris Wilson at the kickoff luncheon a couple of weeks ago as we get ready for game number 1 on Friday night, Colorado and TCU. You might have had a chance to see this great piece recently on social media as we take a deep dive into the life of Karl Dorrell. In this 3-part series, here we take a look at his road to becoming the head coach of the Buffaloes.
I'd like to introduce our head football coach, Karl Dorrell.
This was a unique experience for me. This was a dream come true. We decided years ago that Colorado was going to be our home to stay when it was all said and done. I did have that inkling in the back of my mind, though, that my fondness for this university and getting a chance to be in this position would be a dream. And it came true. I want to just share my story as to why it's so important to me. I came here as an assistant in 1992, worked for Bill McCartney, and I know in his way of teaching me early in my career was these players, you got to make sure that you coach them that they trust you and believe in you. So my story coming here and getting a chance to work for a wonderful coach and wonderful players was very instrumental to my makeup as I grew as a coach. There's nothing better than being on the grass. I love football, I love coaching the game. I love coaching the basic elements of the game. That's the best part of coaching to me is being in the one-on-one scenarios on the field and really developing young men. It's really important that you have a great connection with the players. That's first and foremost. But I think when it's all said and done, have I impacted enough people? Which is what I'm here for. My parents are from the East Coast. My dad grew up in the Bronx in New York, and my mom actually grew up in West Virginia. Right after they graduated from high school, they got married. He went into the Navy and started their journey. We moved to San Diego in 1969. My dad was gone a lot with tours of duty and Vietnam, things like that. For a good bit of time of being raised, it was really solely with my mom. She raised all 7 of us at one time in the house, and it was governed by her. She did rule with I call a strong arm. You know, she kept us in, the football during football season, then went into basketball season, then went into baseball or track season in the spring. So, that was kind of her method to her madness, was to keep our kids, all these kids out of trouble, is to put them in sports.
The glamour and pageantry that surrounds the Helix High School athletic tradition has long been epitomized by the award-winning Highlander Band. Tonight, on a cool December evening, they would lead the way into Ciego Stadium as their football team went after a CIF crown. Karl Dorrell also had a big year, coming up with key plays like this crucial scoring run versus Granite Hills. The big win over the playoff-bound Eagles was one of the great moments of 1980. Dorrell was the club's second leading scorer.
High school football was a dream. When I went to Helix High School, we won 2 CIF championships, on the varsity level. I remember the end of my junior year, a few letters would trickle in, and I think my first official letter of being recruited was from Idaho State University. When that occurred and I had that first letter, it kicked me into working harder. I had a number of choices to go to school. I was really blessed. I wanted to stay on the West Coast. I did end up going to UCLA.
And now, the home team, the UCLA Bruins, take the field. Karl Dorrell, number 8.
My career at UCLA was tremendous. We won a lot of games. We had a lot of success.
UCLA's flanker, Karl Dorrell.
We've been to 3 Rose Bowls and won.
Karl Dorrell makes the ground.
I accomplished really a lot that I set myself out to when I was a student athlete there.
Fires a Hail Mary into the end zone, and it's a touchdown, UCLA!
Well, there's the first of a 3-part series as we look at the road to Karl Dorrell becoming the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. Coming up next here in the Buffalo Stampede, we're talking volleyball. It was a 3-0 weekend for Jesse Mahoney and the CU women.
Rips across and in. The header shot. James is in front of it from Newkirk. Shira finishes 7 consecutive games with a goal. The shot is good. Savannah Kuhlman, they figured it out, did the sideline, dump a bucket on the coach. That's your new Colorado winningest head coach in program history.
That was quite a moment right there. The all-time winningest coach now in Colorado soccer history is Danny Sanchez. Moves ahead of the legendary Bill Hampton with a victory there for Sanchez, the Buffaloes, over Valparaiso. Congratulations. We're going to see some highlights in just a moment as we talk a little volleyball right now. Jesse Mahoney joining us. Buffs coming off a 3-0 weekend with the Buffs Invitational. Well, that's good. That's a real good way to start.
Yeah.
Winning early is good.
Winning's fun. We definitely got our money's worth out of the weekend. We got challenged and found a way to win a couple of those matches.
Green Bay, Western Michigan. We'll talk about DU in just a minute. Kind of give us just a sense of camp and how you felt going into your first weekend of competition.
Yeah, I mean, this camp was interesting because we just had so many veteran players, and a lot of our freshmen are actually injured, so they weren't slowing us down, I guess is the positive of that. So we got to play a lot of 6-on-6. We got to kind of maybe get a little bit farther ahead than we have in the past. So I think we're kind of ready to go going into this weekend.
Well, with the young players getting injured, are some of them on pace to come back, be healthy, jump back into the season here at some point earlier?
Our freshman class is redshirting.
Oh goodness!
So we got we have one new player, Lexi Hadridge, who's on the floor for us, but it's pretty much our veteran group this year.
Take us through the weekend then. Start off with Green Bay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the weekend set up so that we had a challenging match early, a more challenging match in the middle, and then I thought Denver was the next best team at the tournament. Western challenged us with the speed of their offense. They're a little bit smaller, but run really fast. Took us a while to catch up to that, and then Denver has a ton of talent. They struggled on Friday, but when they were playing us, I thought they were really good, and they made us fight for it.
Can you tell after a little bit of camp and just a small handful of matches here where the strength of this team is, how it's going to be offensively, how it's going to be defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the stats, we blocked extremely well. We have two upperclassmen middles, I think, who really know what they're doing, and we have a lot of athleticism at the pin, so that's one thing that we're doing really well right now.
That last match against DU, that was a marathon for the Buffaloes over the weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we really had to come back. We had to fight our way back into the fourth set. We had some great blocks towards the end. Maya Tabron had a monster block to finish it, and then the fifth set, I think we cruised a little bit more. I think we were confident at that point, but yeah, Denver put our backs against the wall, and we had to make a lot of plays at the end.
McGigan Hart ends up being the MVP of the event.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a middle who leads you in kills, that's pretty special. She was just super efficient. Again, it's her 6th year, so she's been doing this for a long time, and she's playing really confidently right now.
What you just talked about, I don't care if you're talking football or basketball or volleyball, whatever it is, a lot of 6th-year players. This is an older set now we've got in college athletics right now. Is that changing the games a little bit, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Western Michigan's a good example. I mean, a lot of talent, but a lot of older players on the floor, and that makes a difference. Denver, I thought, has a lot of talent, but a lot of new kids on the floor, right? So it just takes a little bit of time to gel, and hopefully we continue to gel as well.
Now they jump into the big event this weekend with the Pac-12 Big Ten Challenge. Tell us who you got coming in.
So we have, this is our 4th year with Illinois and Iowa, Washington along with us in the Pac-12, and Illinois is in the top 25. We've had a lot of success with them in this tournament, and Iowa is new staff and a lot of new kids, so both of them were successful in their first weekends, so it'll be a good matchup.
We got football coming up on Friday, got volleyball all weekend there. Get on out to the event center and enjoy a great weekend of athletics. Coach, good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Jesse Mahoney, head coach for the CU volleyball team here on the Buffalo Stampede.